Phillipsburg because all they hear is the bickering. All right? We can't, we gotta go on. But one person just can't do whatever he feels and think that everything is okay. Where we pass laws and they're never, ever, they're ignored. He doesn't enforce them. I think it's time, not only the mayor, but the council, we have to start working together. We have to. Because people don't want to come into town with big business. They don't want to come down, they don't want to come in our area because of what's going on. We have to get together. And I thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I apologize for leaving. I just didn't. I'm in a petition. Council Vice President.
You want me to top that?
I don't think you can.
I cannot. I'm good.
Councilman Davis.
Just a reminder, school starts next week. It's hard to believe the summer's already over. And just make sure you keep your eyes out, especially for the commuters, when the school buses start going and coming back in the afternoon. There's going to be lots of little feet out on the road, so just be careful and be safe there out on the roads. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman McVeigh.
Councilman Davis, since the first time I ever spoke with you and knocked on your door, I told you you are my favorite councilman, and you still are. I love you, man. Lutz. Josh. I did get rid of laugh, didn't I? You're awake.
We smoke.
They opened up early, guys. How about that?
Councilman Mark, Patty, Mrs. Hughes, I am very, very sorry for your loss. Stan was a phenomenal human being, and the last conversation that I had with him after you had given me his phone number, I'm not sure he knew who I was, because I said, you know, I love you, man. If you need anything, let me know. He goes, I know, buddy. You're one of my best friends. And I didn't know where that came from.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did know. Okay. But you know, it's not often that you find a man built like him. You were blessed. Anyone who knew him was blessed. Councilman Lutz, the offer is always there. If you ever need someone to talk to, reach out. That's all I have for this evening. Moving forward, we do have a personnel discussion. Well, we're going to skip 16 and let the mayor present his administrative report, which I believe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to try to answer council's questions tonight and issues. I wrote each one of them down. I'll be as quick as possible. With regard to code inspection, I know the council president had an issue.
Can you turn your mic on?
I'm sorry. I know, Council President, you reached out to me about 144 Lewis Street. I did address the Code of Inspection Office, and this was their response. The new occupant did move in furniture, but there was no one living there. And if you so wish, I will have Pat Kays come to the council meeting to give that testimony. And instead of you listening, you know, taking it from me, it's your choice, let me know.
I would like to see Mr. Kays. I'd also like the landlord, if that's possible.
Okay, you got both, Kays and landlord. With regard to the professional services money that the council has given the mayor's office, we started interviews with professional code inspectors. And the first interview, I have to admit, was a flop. He didn't have his code inspection license. He didn't have any UCC, like Uniform Construction Code. He was a house inspector for a dealer. So we have to go back to the drawing board, but we're going to be interviewing additional code inspectors to use up that $50,000. I will tell you that one problem we might have, Attorney Wenner might be able to answer it. If we have a private code inspector, not in or of the municipal government, can he appear in court on behalf of the municipality? The summons written, the
Private
contested
code,
summons.
meaning an outside service performing the work, or
For
someone?
example, the housing authority hires a professional code inspection company, but the housing authority owns all the homes. So they go after the tenant to correct the problem, and not like it's different than we have to go to the landlord. We have to take the landlord to court to give a summons. So can a private, professional, licensed code inspector appear in court on our behalf?
Right, the prosecutor would be the one prosecuting it on behalf of the municipality. The code inspector would be the one to provide the factual basis for the charges.
Can he testify on our behalf?
I
or
believe there's a contractual relationship between the municipality and the
Good.
the person doing that, then.
All right, that was a question Kevin Duddy had. Okay, I am very concerned, as you know, Council and Council President, with the Riverfront redevelopment plan at Union Square District. There's only a certain amount of money in the federal government, $1.5 billion, to compensate for the capital gains tax loss to investors. I'm worried that we were poised to move, and I'm worried that other towns might catch up to us and surpass us, and that $1.5 billion in the federal government might be eaten up real quick from California to New Jersey. So I just urge you to take another look at it and see if we can get it on the table. I understand there was some questions about SUP, special use permits, specifically about the Delaware River excursions. I want to share the history of that real quick. Councilman Davis was involved. When I arrived, when I first took office, there were no permits for events, large events, anywhere in town, and I'm going to tell you it was chaos. I don't want to point fingers, but if you would have saw South Main Street on a Saturday night with the Polar Express, little kids in pajamas running out in the middle of the street, no crossing guards, fire trucks down there that shouldn't have been there, garbage trucks down there for free, school buses running around for free. I really question all of it. I had poached a special use permit process for the New Jersey State Park Service. We personalized it to Phillipsburg, and that's what we're using now. It covers everything from traffic control to crowd control to liability insurance to fees for buses and parking lots and whatever use of municipal services there are. And I do sign that permit, but that permit comes to council if someone requests a waiver. And that's a little bit of background on the SUPs. They've been an effective tool. They're not easy to keep up with without a business administrator, but we do our best. And the Delaware River excursions, they do have a very comprehensive special use permit. However, it needs to be renewed for this year, and I just haven't had time to do it. The permit was delivered to Chris Cotty. He has to, how can I say this? He has to pay attention to the permit a little more, but permits are just permits unless you monitor them, and that we need a hand with. You know, you just can't write the permit and walk away, no different than a landlord with a lease. Moving along, I would, the question regarding Mr. Johnson, the bill for the Agway, I heard it come up a couple times. Here's the backstory. The backstory is that the building was unsafe. It's a slate roof, the nail heads were rusting off the slate, and the slate was coming down on the side of the old spring house. The slate is as sharp as a guillotine. It would split your skull in half. So what we had done is we bought 2 tarps. Let me back up. What we had done is Kevin Duddy went down to inspect the building and saw the slates and the shingles on the ground, and he determined it was unsafe for public use, and he condemned the building. Once he condemned the building, we're allowed to enter into that building or upon those premises to correct any public safety hazards. For example, a fire site. We do not wait to go to a judge or to go to foreclosure. We move on that property once he condemns it and it's declared an emergency to demo the building. Tyndall Street is the perfect example. Or any other property where we can't get a landlord. So we have permission, once it's condemned, to enter upon it to correct a public safety hazard. And that's the reason we were there. Yes, the Historic Commission, not the committee, was there last week taking a look at the building because they have interest in saving the building. That is completely separate from the slates. I answered an email to Councilwoman DeGirolamo regarding this. She has pictures of the slates. A lot of kids, go ahead.
Mayor, were they in the building under condemned status, right?
Yes, they did go inside the first floor of the building.
Did they have protective gear?
No, they didn't have
I'm
protective
just
gear.
curious.
Yeah, no, they did not. But I will tell you that I enter into buildings that are abandoned or condemned with Kevin Duddy, with Rich Hay. You know, if there's a fire, there's inspections. I mean, I've been taken into buildings that, River Street, there was a fire, but it was infested with bed bugs. And he wanted me to see those things, so I...
No, my question was just because you said that the slate would split their skull wide open, and I think it would behoove us as a town, next time we have a meeting in there to put...
The slates, that condition has been made safe by the tarp. The tarp was tucked up under the soffit and fascia to catch the slates from coming down. I see it's building up already. My worry is that it will pull the tarp off the roof soon. It's a major problem. That's a huge building. And the water getting inside was only going to bring it down to the ground.
Thank you.
I want to mention the treatment plant. There's been 2 meetings at the treatment plant, and I'll just do a quick summary of it. Cleaning of digesters, RFP for main influent pumps, an aerator valve is broken, and the Riverside Way pump station's having problems. We have up to $500,000 in maintenance and repair with capital before we even touch the $15,000 that you allotted for odor control. The plant is constantly breaking down. It's constantly in need of repair. It was built in 1955, and I have many conversations with Dennis Yoder and others about the plant. It's just the nature of the beast. I just wanted you to know some of the numbers. Dennis Yoder has promised me to install a chemical spray device that will bond with the hydrogen sulfide, which is the smell you get up on the hill. And we'll see how long it takes him to do that. The municipal building. There is a plan for the municipal building, but it hasn't been released because we have not got confirmation that a major developer in town would do an in-kind service to demolish the building down to the bricks and mortar in the interior. Once the asbestos and once the mold is removed, the building would be marketable, and that's a time to set up a committee or a subcommittee to discuss its use. I like senior assisted living because it's in a perfect location. It has a church, it has a mall, it has a bank, it has a hospital up the street. Phillipsburg has no senior assisted living. There's a library next door. I think it's a good fit, but this is a group discussion. That was just my 2 cents on it. The utilities in the old municipal building are less than what they were last year because the chiller has been shut off, which was a major consumer of electric. I think they're $6,000 a year now compared to $9,000 the year before, according to Robert Merwell. However, they are, Councilwoman DeGirolamo is correct when she states that we're paying utilities at 3 different places, but the reason that happened is the police could not be relocated. We could not relocate cells to trailers because I think the bad guys' buddies would come and hook up and take them away. In addition to that, we had permission from the New Jersey Department of Health to leave police in that building as long as we continued with the air sampling and had a plan to move them out, which is now a reality. Otherwise, we would have faced a $10,000 a day lawsuit. And I want to mention too, these are some of the inheritances this administration had. I think Councilwoman DeGirolamo had seen the condition of that building, and I can't believe the police were in there for as long as they were. If you talk to a retired policeman, they'll tell you they've been in that black mold for a long time before the chiller was turned on. I would also like to bring up, I think I heard Councilman Lutz mention, somebody should pay the price for this. As hard as this is to believe, Core Mechanical had admitted, I'm not sure Attorney Wenner was there, but I know Attorney Mandry was there, admitted to be at fault for allowing the chiller to run when the condensation was pouring through the ceiling tiles. Their company policy was to shut off the chiller immediately as condensation was starting to flow. Attorney Wenner, what is the limitation for filing a lawsuit?
2 years on a negligence, 6 years on a breach of contract, so.
What's your thoughts?
Well, we've been reviewing the documents, because the council has requested that, and he has provided the contracts to us, so it's in review, so we have time, we don't have a whole lot of time, but we do have
Right. Well, that's a good thing, because I recall at that meeting with Core Mechanical that they admitted that they were wrong. It should have been shut off. They terminated the person that didn't shut it off, and they offered to pay for the engineering fees to remove the asbestos. However, part of removing the asbestos was to remove the people, and that's where we hit a roadblock. And what we did, we were being pushed towards the Journal of Commerce building at $11,500 a month at the County of Warren. I resisted that move, and I spoke with Superintendent Greg Troxel and Stacy Horn, and we got the Freeman building free of charge to save the taxpayers $11,500 a month. We are happy where we are right now, at least I am, and we'll stay there as long as we can. We don't want to create any more debt service. I got a heads up from Bob Merlo. We cannot afford any more debt service. One more loan might put us over the edge to raising taxes, but at this point, we're flush. I facilitated the loan, a USDA loan, through Senate President Sweeney's office to the USDA. And the terms are 4% at 40 years. The reason it was done at 40 years is to keep your tax down to a penny or 2 pennies. That was done on behalf of the residents of Phillipsburg. And so if we cannot afford the bond service, say that bridge development's not done by the end of the year. They expect to have 3 buildings done for 1,500 jobs. The pilot kicks in. We got a pilot council. If we do not get that rateable in time, we will wait until the police are relocated, and then we'll talk about the municipal building with council. But we do not want to raise taxes. What we would have to do is close out this USDA loan for the relocation and adaptive reuse for the police at the Armory, and then we would talk about the construction of a new municipal building or putting in a municipal building in an older building for adaptive reuse. But we're patient. It's more important, as I heard Councilman Bay said, for the health and safety of the police officers that have been in there for years. I don't want to be in there. Anyway.
They should have moved them a year ago.
What's that?
And we should have moved them a year ago.
All right, but let's just try and
They
let the
couldn't
mayor,
be
this
moved
is
a
the
year
mayor's time to speak.
Thank you. No, they couldn't.
This is let's just try to refrain from arguing. We've had a good meeting thus far.
I agree, Council President. Anyway, that is the backstory on the municipal building on Corliss Avenue and the Armory building. Council's questions regarding the duties of the 2018-18. Just a question for Attorney Wenner. Attorney Wenner, I know that we had email exchanges about who the town clerk works for, and if I'm not mistaken, you had said that the, oh boy. Okay, thank you.
If we're going to talk about the town
Okay,
clerk.
right.
Notice the town clerk, which we haven't done.
Have we, or there was an ordinance?
We have not. If you'd
Okay.
like, we can discuss it at the next meeting, and I'll properly raise notice.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ordinance 2018-19, the salary ordinances, I just want to clear up for everyone that ranges from a low range to a high range was established to accommodate new employees. If a new employee came in and they were in training phase, they took the bottom of the salary. Once they got to know the job, performed the job well, became proficient, they were given a higher salary. It's the way the state government works. It's the way the state police work. It's the way many municipal agencies work. Before it was an ordinance, and that was one salary set for multiple years, and in order to change that salary, every year you had to change an ordinance, which was very difficult to do. Medical marijuana. I just want to let everyone know the investors are all over town. They are descending upon us like the German army. It's just right now it's a little unmanageable, but I just want to, a word of warning. I wouldn't suggest any investor to go anywhere in town until I get the drug-free zones from Chief Robert Stedman. They cannot be within a drug-free zone, so we have to be careful. I heard someone in the audience mention the child care down on North Main. That is, I don't know if it's a drug-free zone, but I'll get the map and pass it on to council, because you don't want to encourage someone if they're going to buy a building. K's Electric was brought up. I just want to share that K's Electric was given a contract to install a separate electrical station for plugs and things of that nature, and they were also contracted into about $11,000 to put a light over the kiosks. So it was not a one-time fee, it's a long-term thing. There's a brand new utility service that was further down towards the dog pound. 32 Heckman, real quick. I want to share the backstory, and here's what really happened. I was coming home late from a meeting one night, and I got a call from former Council President Todd Tersigny. There's someone in the audience that was there that night. Mr. Moore was there, Mrs. Moore was there. And once I got a look at the house, I was appalled. I was appalled at it, and I did have a few choice words for the landlord, because I called the landlord and asked him about it, and he instructed or informed me that he wanted to leave it the way it was. I continued to contact that landlord to get access to the building, and he finally gave me access to the building. And I cleaned that building by myself. I took my own mops, my own mop buckets. I went in and mopped floors, took out garbage, took out the couch that was wrapped. I cleaned the stove for the Moores, not for me, and not for the landlord who to accuse me of some kind of collusion with the landlord is insanity. And I'm going to take that very serious, take it to the prosecutor's office, and I'm taking it to my attorney.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you
All right.
can't accuse him there of
Wait,
wrongdoing.
Mayor.
Here we go again.
Guys,
This
listen,
again.
listen.
I'm defending
listen.
myself.
All right, listen. This is a council meeting.
By the prosecutors, lost the
Blaine, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave if you continue to have your outbursts, okay? I did it to Joe last week, I have to ask you to do the same.
Okay, I'll refrain from the rest of that, Council President. I just want everyone to know that I understand I have a responsibility to have a constructive dialogue with residents, but again, like any of you accused of collusion or anything else, I'm gonna stand up for myself, just so you know. Okay, I'm tired of this.
Mayor, with all due respect, just so you're aware, I was accused of taking money out of the back
I
of the
heard.
Delamar garbage truck.
I heard, Council President.
I didn't attack anybody.
Yeah. Well, no,
No,
there's no need for applause here. This isn't a good thing. Like Councilman Lutz said, we're supposed to be here working for the greater good of the town, and this high school back and forth stuff definitely has to end. I know we tried, and we tried again, and we got to try again. And I'll never give up on moving the town forward, even if I lose a finger in doing so. I do believe that is the gist of my report. I'm sorry it took so long, but I wanted to answer the questions of the council and the residents the best I possibly could. Thank you.
you're welcome, Mayor. There is no executive session. Mayor, where do we stand with regard?
Yes, I do propose to I'm nominating Sam Capella for the BA position at $30,000 as it is now, to the council for a vote.
Okay, so the mayor has just created, not created, but the mayor has just asked that council acknowledge and appoint his selection for the business administrator, who would be Samuel Capello, at a salary of $30,000. Is that $30,000 starting now until the end of the year?
Yes, Council President. As a clerk, he made 41, I do believe, so he's going to take a cut in salary. And I'm not complaining, but it is very difficult running the mayor's office without a business administrator, someone to pass that off to, and without a planner, and I could go on, but I won't, because I accepted the job the way it was. Yes, I would say from now till the end of the year, to be fair, compensation, but I would also want to make it clear that I think
Sorry, I'm just explaining as advising consent, not the appoint, the council not appointing.
advising
The
consent.
mayor made the appointment, the council provided advice.
Thank you. I would want to let council know that going forward in January, if in fact it passes tonight, that you would deal directly with the mayor's office and Mr. Capello for the following year, because there is some confusion about the salary going from 50 to 30, et cetera. So I'm placing it up for advising consent.
Is there a motion to accept the mayor's appointment as for business administrator?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Is there a second? There being no second, the appointment fails. There is no executive session, so we would motion for adjournment. Roll call. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
One, you don't have